Hello everyone, today we're going to be doing a little bit of an unboxing and trying out a new product. This is actually a very cheap Sougayilang Chinese made fishing rod, and we're going to try it out and see if it's worth what I spent on it and whatnot. It's supposed to be a travel rod, so I'm thinking about just keeping this thing in my car, and we'll see what we can catch with it today. So let's see what we got in here. Looks like it comes with a few lures, like a little mini tackle box. We got some, what appears to be some 6-pound line, and then I assume the rod and reel itself. So we'll get that set up and then come back to it once we have this all set up. One thing to call out as I'm building all of this, the rod actually comes in this pretty tiny package. I believe it's like a 4, 5, or 6 piece rod even. Like it's a lot of pieces that you have to put together. So here it is coming out. We'll get this all taken apart, put together, and try it on out. So far we've got everything set up, and so far I can say I'm not too impressed with the quality of everything. The rod feels surprisingly decent. The reel, it's not the best, but I think it'll do its job. The baits that it came with, you can see I don't have this jig head rigged up the best in the world. It already split and everything right here, so it's kind of iffy. And then also it pretty much came with like 2 swim baits, a small crankbait, some hooks and whatnot, and it also came up with some like hit indicators, like little bells and stuff that'll jingle while your rod's getting hit, like if you were bottom fishing or something. A bit odd of a setup for something like this, but I guess that's a thing. But yeah, we're gonna cast this on out. I'll probably throw on a new little swim bait here soon. And oh, that was not a good cast, and we already backlashed. Oh no, let's see. Let's get this. I set the brakes to max already, so we're probably not gonna get a ton of distance. Oh yeah, that's just going straight down. Let's back the brakes off a little bit. And we'll see what we can do. I've never fished this little pond here before, so I don't know if there is actually fish here. But yeah, we'll see. We'll do a little bit of fishing. And if we don't get any bites on these swim baits here soon, I brought my regular tackle box and whatnot, so I'll bring along maybe like a trick worm or something like that and give it a go. So that's what we'll do for now. This pond is not doing me any favors right now. I'm just pulling up bumps of weeds. Like I said, I've never fished this pond. I figured this rod would be a good travel rod just to keep in my car so I can try little ponds like this out. So I'm gonna keep casting and hopefully we can hook into something. I just had a bite. Let's see. We'll get it cast back on out there. I feel like I had a bite, but my hook was so gunked up, I probably couldn't set the hook. Okay, so as much as I would like to keep fishing with the tackle box that it came with, I think I'm actually going to swap out to a weedless Texas rig, because as you can see, this thing is just eating the weeds right now. So we're going to get swapped over to a Texas rig and some form of worm, and then I will get back to you guys. Okay, so we're back out here and we're rigged up with a Texas rigged Zoom. I can't remember if this is a trick worm or a finesse worm. All I know is it's around 4 inches. Cast right on out here and see what we can do. Hopefully it being Texas rig will be a lot more weedless and we shouldn't be getting in the weeds like we have been. Oh, I think we got something. Oh yeah. Oh, what do we got? Oh man, this is a really good bass. Oh my goodness. There we go. Oh my goodness, this guy's very big. Look at that. This is probably he feels like a 2 or a 3 pounder. You can see his tummy there. That's a really good sized fish. Oh yeah, he was so good too. There we go. But yeah, here he is. Really good sized bass. I'm gonna get a picture of him real quick and we'll get him back out in the water. Okay, let's get him back out in the water here. Ooh. Revive on this guy. There he goes. So we are all tied back up with a new worm on. He threw the last worm off. And as you can see, I don't know how well the camera picks it up. The eyes are now all facing this way. So I'm gonna have to like kind of adjust them again. That's one thing I've noticed with this rod is it seems like every maybe 15 minutes or so you're going to be adjusting the eyes, make sure they're still in line. And there we go. Well, we should all be set back up. Considering this rod handled that fairly large bass pretty well, I'll say that I'm decently impressed with it, honestly. The little turtle right there, right in front of me, right in front of where the rod's at. Just a little guy, maybe about 6 inches or so. I think I just missed a bite there. Get the cast back on out over there. I saw a little tiny fish just chasing this thing up to the bank. It looked like maybe a 6-inch largemouth or something. Just a real tiny fish. So there's still some more fish here. I'm gonna stay on this side of the bank for just a touch longer. I think I missed the hook set. I think that was another fish. Okay, so we got our first bird's nest. I will say I don't know what it is about the past maybe 5 minutes or so of casting, but this line has been like bird's nesting pretty much every cast, even with like really good thumb control. I backed the brakes back up like pretty high, and we're still seeing the bird's nest. So I don't know if it's the line that's the issue, if it's me that's the issue. But yeah, we'll try to get this sorted and get back to fishing. So we just fixed that bird's nest and got another one. So it's not looking too great right now. So we are back to fishing now. I'm still bird's nested technically, but I'm just gonna fish with the line I have. What I think ended up happening is the braid ate in on itself, so like I can't fish it out. It's gonna take either some tweezers or just cutting all the line out to get it out. So I'm gonna quickly rate everything kind of on a 1 to 10 basis, just kind of see what I think the quality of everything is, and overall would I repurchase this. So for my favorite part of this whole combo, it's definitely got to be the reel. it's not been too bad. I know we're dealing with kind of a bird's nest right now, and I'm just kind of fighting through it. But I really think that's more fault of the line rather than fault of the reel itself. So before the braid kind of dug into itself and caused this bird's nest, like I wasn't having any issues at all. Like things were going fine. It was casting even into the wind. You can probably hear right now there's a fairly decent breeze right now. So like it was even doing fine in situations like that. So overall, pretty good. I like that it has like a clicky drag. So like when you adjust the drag, it clicks with you. And then also the spool tension knob has been fine. Nothing really to complain about there. But yeah, overall, pretty solid on the reel. The rod, I mean, scale of 1 to 10, I've got to give it like a 5. And that's maybe even being generous. Every maybe between 5 and 15 minutes, I have to adjust the eyelets to make sure they're still in a line, which is not great, not something you want in a rod. But at the same time, it is like a 5-piece rod, and it's a travel rod, and it breaks down really small. So that's maybe expected of something like this. There are definitely better like travel rods on the market. So in comparison to those, this thing probably doesn't hold its own at all very well. But just as in general rod, it's okay. I do feel it doesn't have that much of a backbone, so you have to like really hook set your fish. I had 3 bites so far today, and I could only like hook set into one of them. So I don't know if that's the fault of me or if it is the backbone of this rod. So something to keep in mind if you do end up going with this is you may look at a new rod for it, or you may be happy with how tiny this one breaks down and how like you can throw it under the car seat or something like that, and then just have a travel rod with you anywhere you go. So that's kind of my purpose for it, is just having a fishing rod with me at all times. So I think for that purpose, it does its job very well, but as a fishing rod in general, it's not the best. Now, my least favorite part of this whole setup has been kind of the whole tackle situation and the line. You guys have heard me complaining about this line all day, so I won't go into it too much. I really do think I'm going to replace it with maybe like a 10 or a 12 pound mono. I think that's what would fit this rod better, just because it definitely needs something with thicker diameter than 6-pound braid. I run 8-pound braid on my BFS setup occasionally. So like, considering this reel is not intended as a BFS reel and it's 6-pound braid, I don't know, it doesn't feel right. I mean, it gets the job done. As you can see today, it's landed a pretty good sized fish, but it's just, it's not what I would recommend for a rod setup like this. So yeah, we'll definitely be replacing this out with like 10-pound mono. The last little bit of this whole situation that I'm including with the line is the tackle itself. It came with like 2 swim baits and a very tiny crankbait, and it also came with a few other kind of strange items like the bells for the rod, like hit indicators and stuff. To me, I feel like those are really popular in like carp fishing and catfishing and stuff like that, but especially so in carp fishing. And rods like rod and reel combos like this, I feel are more aimed at bass fishermen. So it's a bit weird that the tackle box has stuff like that. That's not really the target audience of who I think will be purchasing this rod, at least in the United States. Maybe in Europe, like, they'll be using that because I know carp fishing is a lot more popular over there. But at least here in the States, it's a bit strange that it has those bells for the rod hit indicators. Also comes with a float, which, I mean, that's pretty standard. Like, I can't really complain with that. Like, if you're a bass fisherman, bluegill fisherman, like whatever, you can use a float and like a worm, like minnows, stuff like that. It'll do its job. So that's not too weird. It's just not something I would typically throw in a bass fishing tackle box. And then in terms of soft plastics and like the crankbait, The crankbait is really tiny. I would be a little scared to throw that like small of a crankbait on a bait caster. I feel like we would just be backlashing almost every cast. So probably I may try that out, the crankbait out on my BFS setup or something, but on this rod, that crankbait's probably just gonna never see the light of day. And then in terms of the soft plastics, we had 2 swim baits. I think the swim baits were fine. Like, I can't complain with them. They seem to have a good action in the water. My only real complaint with them, though, is I really feel they should have included, instead of 2 swim baits, maybe like a swim bait and a worm or a swim bait and a craw presentation. Just something to kind of change it up a little bit. So it's a bit weird that we have 2 swim baits and then some stuff that's like not targeted at bass fishermen and stuff like that. So it's just something to keep in mind. If you do get it, you're probably going to end up having to replace the line and pretty much get a whole set of tackle yourself. Overall, that's kind of how I feel about this setup. Is it worth the money? I mean, for 40 bucks, you can't beat that. Like, most of the time, like, a bait caster is going to be double that price easily. So like, for an okay bait caster, like, that's not bad. And then you get this travel rod. It's not a great rod, but I mean, heck, it catches fish. So can't complain with that. I would definitely purchase it again, especially because it's gonna be living in my car, you know. Like, it's a cheap setup that if something were to happen to it, I'm not gonna feel too guilty. But also, it's gonna be nice to, like, if I see a roadside pond and I have 30 minutes to kill, I can get out there, cast a few times, and see what we can get into. I may do another video on this like whole setup once I get it kind of kitted out to how I want, and then kind of get a small tackle box set up for what I think should be in that tiny travel tackle box. So we'll do that once we get all set up for that. Anyways, I haven't had a bite in about an hour. I've been making my way in circles around this pond and not really seeing anything and not really having any action. So I'm probably gonna call it quits here in a second. Anyway, tell me what you guys think of this rod reel combo. Is it something y'all are interested in purchasing? Is there anything else on the market like this that you guys think I should try out? Definitely let me know in the comments. And if you guys enjoyed the video, please feel free to give a like and a subscribe. I really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next one.